I mocked his failed promotion at dinner. His angry exit that night became our final goodbye. Hello, Reddit. This is so painful, and my heart aches as I am writing this. I am in so much pain. Tears are rolling down my cheeks, but I still had to post my story here because I need some advice on what to do or some support. Really anything that will help. I lost the love of my life and everything I ever lived for that dinner night, and this is not what I dreamt of for my life. I had the best gift of life, a hardworking, faithful man who loves and adores me with everything in him. We had just settled down a month after our marriage, and we were planning to raise this beautiful family together, a family filled with love and happiness. We had a connection that could not be easily broken, and I messed up. I shouldn't have said what I said at dinner that night because it took everything away from me. My husband and I had been dating for the past 4 years before we got married. He and I met in college, and that's how our beautiful love story started. He had become everything to me, my best friend, my peace of mind. He had my back no matter what. I always have a busy schedule at work, but he has never complained about it. We understood perfectly. Most of the time, I come back home late from work. Dinner has already been prepared by him, and also, he keeps the house clean and tidy. He takes care of my parents as if they were his biological parents. He pays attention to every little detail of my life, but now I messed up. I thought about what happened that night at dinner. Why did I say the things I said? I still cannot comprehend why. The memory of that night still lingered like a bitter taste in my mouth. I had been careless with my words, and they had cut deep. His angry exit had been a shock, but in hindsight, it was inevitable. I often wondered what would have happened if I had bitten my tongue that night. Would things have turned out differently, or was our relationship already doomed to fail? I know we all have made some mistakes in our marriages, so please don't judge me. It wasn't intentional. Let me explain the whole situation that led to this. The thing is, we do make fun of each other and crack jokes, although I was the funny one, and he was sometimes a bit boring. We had created this safe space for us to be ourselves, but maybe this time around I went too far with the jokes, and he was badly hurt. He didn't take it lightly. That safe space we had created was a beautiful thing, a place where we could be vulnerable and authentic with each other. But I realize now that I had taken that space for granted, pushing the boundaries too far. Reflecting on my actions, I think I misunderstood the line between joking and hurting. I didn't mean to cross it, but I did, and now I'm paying the price. The price of almost losing everything he offers, the love, the comfort, and the care. It's all invisible now, and the only thing I can feel is the silence and the distance they're separating us. A little bit about my husband, Sam, is that he is a complex man with a heart of gold. We met under unexpected circumstances, and our relationship has been a whirlwind ever since. He's strong-willed and determined, but also fiercely loyal and protective of those he loves. Despite his tough exterior, Sam has a soft spot for those in need and is always willing to lend a helping hand. His unwavering commitment to our relationship makes me feel special every day, and I feel grateful to be his partner in life. Sam is also a hard worker, so he dedicated himself to his job, putting in long hours and making sacrifices for the sake of his career. And when he finally got passed over for the promotion, it was a devastating blow. I remember the look on his face when he came home that evening. The disappointment, the frustration, the sense of betrayal. It broke my heart to see him like that, although I was also happy that this whole promotion was over, and now he will return his obsession and focus on our relationship. To be honest, I had missed coming back home to see that he had returned early from work to make sure dinner was set and everything in the house was in order. I had missed that part of him, not like I was happy he lost the promotion. No, I was sad about that part, but then, to make matters worse, I had to go and rub salt in the wound with my thoughtless comments at dinner. I can only imagine how he must have felt, like I was kicking him when he was already down. I felt a wave of regret wash over me as I thought about my careless words. I had been so caught up in trying to be funny, to make a joke, that I hadn't stopped to consider how my words might affect him. Don't get me wrong, I love my husband with all my heart, but sometimes I can't help but feel a little frustrated by how sensitive he is about my humor. I have a dark sense of humor, the kind that teeters on the edge of sarcasm, irony, and a little bit of bite. It's just how I am, and I've always been this way. It's not meant to be taken seriously. I joke about everything. Work, family, and yes, even looks. Nothing is off limits for me, and most of the time, people laugh it off, myself included. But the first time it happened, when I made a joke about my husband's appearance during a hangout with friends and colleagues, I didn't think much of it. The comment wasn't malicious. It was just a typical throwaway joke, one that got a laugh from everyone at the table, including him. It felt like just another moment of playful teasing, part of the dynamic I have with my friends, my colleagues, and even my husband. And yet, when we got home, he was upset. I was confused at first. He had laughed after all, right? He didn't seem offended at the moment, so why was he suddenly so bothered? But when he told me it hurt, I could see the genuine discomfort in his eyes. He explained that while I might think it's funny, it's not something he's used to or comfortable with. He admitted that my joke made him feel self-conscious, even though I hadn't meant to hurt him. I'll admit, part of me feels like he should have gotten used to it by now. We've been together long enough that he knows how I am. But I also understand that just because I find something funny doesn't mean everyone else will. My humor, especially when it's about sensitive topics like appearance, can be a lot to handle. Just because I laugh doesn't mean everyone around me does. And sometimes it's easy to overlook that. After that day, I tried my best to be a little bit conscious and careful with my jokes, especially in public. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but then it just kept happening, and I just didn't know how to stop it or control my mouth. I feel bad sometimes for that, but most times I feel bad because I expected him to be used to it by now, and that's why I get irritated most times when he's hurt. But that's that, and he always found a way to fix it. But this last time, there was no more fixing. Everything shattered, and there were no pieces left to glue back anything. As I mentioned earlier, my husband is a hard worker and loves his work so much. For as long as I can remember, he's always put his heart and soul into his job. Whether it was late nights or early mornings, he never once complained. He'd just wake up, roll up his sleeves, and get to work, and he had always believed and said, if you want something, you have to earn it. How this issue came to be is that a few months ago, he got wind of a big promotion opportunity at his company. It wasn't just a step up, it was the step, the kind of role he'd been grinding for since the day he joined. He worked tirelessly, sometimes coming home well past midnight, skipping meals, and barely getting any sleep. His excitement was infectious, and even though I worried about him burning out, I couldn't help but root for him, although sometimes it annoyed me that he was putting in so much effort and time into his work. When the time came, he was so sure he had it in the bag. He'd done everything, the extra projects, the impossible deadlines, and even taking on tasks that weren't his responsibility. I saw the light in his eyes when he talked about it, the pride, the hope, the belief that all his hard work would finally pay off. But it didn't. They gave the promotion to someone else. The news hit him like a freight train. I'll never forget the look on his face when he told me. He came home that night looking like a shell of himself. He was quiet and sad. His usual confident stride was replaced by slow, dragging steps. He said they gave it to some guy named John. John was a newer hire, sharp, sure, but nowhere near as dedicated as my husband. It didn't make sense. He said his boss told him he was too valuable in his current position, too valuable to move up, apparently. It was the kind of excuse you give when you don't have a real reason. I tried to comfort him. I was not good at comforting, but I tried my best, but nothing I said seemed to help. I didn't know what to say anymore. What could I say? Obviously, he wasn't looking for comfort. He was looking for a reason to believe his efforts hadn't been wasted, and I couldn't give him that. So I decided to give him a little bit of space as he sat there, staring at the wall hopelessly with his sad eyes. The next day, we were supposed to have dinner plans with friends. I suggested we cancel as he wasn't in the mood for socializing, and honestly, I didn't blame him. But he insisted we go. He didn't want to let anyone down, and that's just who he is. He always puts other people first, even when he's falling apart. So we went, and that was how every good thing in my life got destroyed. The evening when we got there, everything started fine. Everyone was laughing, chatting, catching up. But then someone brought up work. I could feel him tense next to me. It was subtle, but I noticed. One of our friends asked about the promotion. It was innocent enough, just small talk, but I knew it hit my husband like a punch to the gut. He tried to brush it off, giving a vague answer, but I didn't let it slide. I don't know what got into me. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe I was just in a bad mood, but I couldn't help myself. I opened my mouth, and the words came spilling out before I could stop them. I made a joke, a cruel, cutting joke. I said something about how he'd worked so hard just to be told he was too valuable to move up. I even laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world, but it wasn't funny, not to him. I could see it on his face the second the words left my mouth. He didn't say anything. He didn't argue or defend himself. He just sat there staring at his plate, his jaw clenched so tight I thought it might break. But I didn't stop. I kept going, making little comments, poking at him like it was some kind of game. I announced that maybe his boss might not be wrong and the position was not for him. Maybe he was aiming too high and the promotion was too good for him, and he doesn't deserve it at all. So I don't know why he should take it too personally when he clearly doesn't have what it takes to be in that position yet. I said so many harsh things, but I don't even remember half of what I said. But I know it was bad. I know it hurts. By the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. My husband got up from the table. He didn't make a scene or say anything dramatic. He just stood up, muttered something about needing air, and walked out. He didn't come back. When I got home that night, his car was gone. Some of his clothes were missing, and I figured he just needed some space. But hours turned into days, and I didn't hear from him. He left a note on the counter saying he needed time to think, and that was it. No calls, no messages, nothing at all. I tried calling him, but everything went to voicemails. He was out of reach. That's when I realized that I had done something wrong. I replay that dinner in my head every day, over and over. I don't know why I said those things. I don't know what I was trying to prove. I wish I could take it all back. I thought I was being funny, that it was all just harmless teasing, but now I see it for what it was. Cruelty. My husband didn't need jokes or sarcasm. He needed support, and I failed him. It was a cruel joke about something that mattered to him, and even though I didn't mean it in the way he took it, and I understand that it stung him in a way I hadn't anticipated. A failed promotion is already a blow to anyone's confidence, and I, of all people, should have known better than to mock him for it. They say words can't break bones, but that night mine broke something far more fragile, and now I'm left to wonder if the man I loved more than anything will ever come back. And right now I don't know if I'll ever be able to fix it. Please, I need your help on how I can make everything right so my husband can come back home to me. This idea of ghosting is messing me up, and I don't know what to make of the situation anymore. I'm beyond hurt. Any good advice will help. Update. It's been a month now since that dinner, and a lot has happened. I know whatever I said was bad, but my husband's reaction and actions afterwards left me bruised forever. He knows that within me, I had this undeniable urge to crack silly jokes about him. It wasn't malicious, far from it. It was just my way of interacting, of bridging the silence, of making things lighthearted and fun. So I couldn't help wondering, was I the only one to blame for this? Couldn't he have grown accustomed to it by now? After all, it's not as though my humor came out of nowhere. He'd known me long enough to understand that teasing and joking were part of who I was. It was my way of showing affection, of building connection. I know it's a weird way of expressing one's love, but surely he must know that by now. Or was I expecting too much? And I was past comforting, so I just wanted to lighten up his mood a bit. Still, I wrestled with the idea. Perhaps I'd gone too far in the past, and my so-called jokes had cut deeper than I'd realized. Maybe the times I laughed at his quirks, or exaggerated his flaws for comedic effect, weren't as harmless as I thought. For me, they were just jokes, but for him, they might have been something else entirely. His decision just made me realize that I was completely nothing, and he was never going to accept me the way I was, or get my sense of humor. I am hurt deeply, and I feel awful because it's all my fault that everything came to an end. 3 weeks after the incident, my husband sent me divorce papers. I was shocked to the bone when I received it. It didn't make any sense to me. He would just file for divorce without any valid reasons. Yes, I know my remarks about his promotion was a bad one, but still, he shouldn't have filed for divorce. He should have just fixed everything as he usually does. Why did he have to take it personally? I feel very hurt and disappointed. I wanted to see him and let him know that I was sorry, and divorce was a bad move, but I still couldn't reach him. He did everything like a ghost, and he even requested I vacate the house, but I refused to. I wanted him to come in person and face me and say it to me, and that's the only way I'll know he truly meant it. Because there's no way he will look at the beautiful face of a woman he loves so much and still stand firm with his decisions. It's impossible. Then, things got worse when I attended a friend's wedding. He was there. Of course he was. We moved in the same circles, shared too many mutual connections to avoid each other completely. The moment I saw him, my heart sank. He looked good, too good, and seeing him in that setting, surrounded by laughter, love, and happiness, only amplified how hollow I felt inside. Every stolen glance in his direction felt like a punch to the gut. It made me sick. Being in the same space as my husband Sam, without him giving me a chance to talk, made everything unbearable, suffocating. The air felt heavy, toxic, like it wasn't meant for me to breathe anymore. I tried to keep my composure, to pretend I was fine, but it was a losing battle. I wanted to confront, but I couldn't make a scene at the wedding, because why would he avoid me like a plague, and our friends' stares and whispers was not even helping. They made me feel worse, and that confirmed that they had chosen a side already, and all this while they knew where Sam was and how to contact him, but they all pretended like they didn't. They were really never my friend, but Sam's. Now I know that, and all I wanted to do at that point in the wedding was to escape, to run away from there and the overwhelming ache of Sam's presence. And when the wedding was finally over, I rushed outside so I could have a word with him, but he had disappeared into thin air. That's when I realized how delusional I was, and that my pretty face and smile can't even mend what he had broken, and that gave me time to think about how badly I have hurt him during the past few years, and how I totally ignored him even when he expresses his feelings and emotions. I know now that I was not a good wife or girlfriend. Hell rained down on me when I got home the next day. The wedding was in another city, so I slept over there and went home the next day just to find my luggages outside, and the lock of the house was changed. I mean, I lived there, so what was happening? Maybe Sam came around, I thought, and then I tried calling him, but he didn't answer my calls. I started panicking a little. I mean, this is my home, right? So I figured I'd find another way in, maybe through a window or something. I wasn't trying to do anything crazy. I just wanted to get inside and figure out what was going on. That's when I saw a couple coming up the driveway like they owned the place. At first I was confused, like, who are these people? And then it hit me. They looked so casual, so at home, like they were supposed to be there. It was so surreal. But I ignored and continued with my actions on how I could break in, but they rushed towards me and demanded I stop immediately. I tried talking to them, asking what the hell was going on, but they just looked at me like I was insane. It got heated pretty quickly. I mean, from their perspective, I probably looked like some random stranger trying to break into their house. They took everything seriously and called the cops. Before I knew it, I was in this whole mess. Everything was settled at the police station, and then the truth of the matter came to light. Sam had sold the house and ordered for my stuff to be kept outside. I was in utter shock and pain. How could he be so cruel? I was almost running mad. I had nowhere else to go. I didn't even know what to do. I was stranded. I had to lodge and return to my parents' place a few days later. My parents gave me an earful every day of how I belittled Sam, and now I have lost him. Trust me, I regret it every day of my life. Income-wise, he was the rich one, earning a lot of money, and the little job I was doing wasn't enough to take care of myself, let alone my parents. It just became hard and hard without him. Everything was damaged, and there was nothing I could do anymore. Sam was not interested in me anymore, and his decision made me realize that no one needed someone like me as a partner in life, because I'll end up embarrassing and hurting their feelings at every chance I got, so I guess he made the right decision, and this has given me time to reflect on my actions and make amends. But I hope that one day Sam forgives me and sees that I truly loved him and never really wanted to hurt him in the first place. I know he has been patient with me, but still, I wished he had given me another chance. Maybe I would have gotten it right this time. But it's okay. The deed has been done. We are officially divorced, and I am single all again with a broken heart, hoping to heal one day. So to those of you reading and judging me, I pray you never make the same mistakes I did. It's easy to look from the outside and think you'd have done things differently, that you'd have handled it better or chosen the right words at the right time. I used to think that too, but life doesn't give you a script or a pause button to stop and reflect before you act. Sometimes you don't even realize the weight of your choices until it's far too late to change them. I know I messed up. I've replayed those moments 1,000 times in my head, dissecting every word I said, every chance I missed to show kindness or understanding. Trust me when I say that no one is harder on me than I am on myself. Regret is a heavy thing to carry, but it's also a teacher. It's shown me where I went wrong and how I need to grow. I pray you never have to learn those lessons the hard way like I did.